All right, so today I'm going to share the one time I went to jail here in Mexico. They locked me up for 3 days, and It was over something that I didn't even think was that serious, and that's the point of this video. This is part two, where I'm just going to talk about some of the things that are done completely differently. The culture here is different. The way things are done is different from what we do in the United States, and so I feel it's necessary to prep you for what to expect when you come. Again, this is part two. A lot of you all, like the first video said, is give you more of this stuff, so that's what I'm going to do today. So, jail. How did I end up in jail? And the guy next to me was a cocaine trafficker. He kind of gave me the ropes when I was in jail. Told me not to worry, told me I'll be out, and told me how to kind of work the system and whatnot. But anyhow, here, respecting people's property and their space is serious business. Here, what happens on somebody's property is their property, and it's none of your business what happens on their property. And I'm gonna tell you another story about that as well. But one day, I was going out to do an interview, interview a foreigner, and they gave me the address. They sent it to me in WhatsApp, which is like a texting app. Sent me the address. They said, when you get here, you're gonna see a black gate. Open the gate, come in, and knock on the door, and I'll let you in. So get to the place. It looked like it's the place. The number was on the wall. The address was right. So what do? I'll open the gate, walk on in, knock on the door, and some little kid answers the door. Hola, ¿quién es? Who is it? And at that point, I realized I'm in the wrong place because I'm going to see some Americans. And so I apologize and I leave, find the right house, and which was right next door. But I got in the car and drove around because maybe the GPS was wrong. And I ended up back in the same spot, and they came out and greeted me, and I was at the house next door. So in the house for about an hour, just running my mouth, getting everything ready for the video. I leave to go to the car to get the camera so I can do the recording. And then when I go outside, there's like 10, 15 police cars outside. And I'm looking, I'm like, man, what the hell happened? I didn't hear no sirens pulling, I ain't hear the siren. Where did they come from? I mean, the street just full of them. And then somebody points to me, and I'm like, you see the TV when you look back, and I literally was looking back, and I was like, who they pointing at? No, they ain't pointing at me, and sure enough, they were pointing at me. And so the police officer tell me to come over. He asked me, did you go through the gate and go up these people's side of their house and knock on their door? I like, yeah. I said, I did that after I went to the wrong house. And then I showed them my phone with the address on it. I was like, I went to the wrong house. You could see the number on the wall, because both of these houses, there was a wall in between and they had the number. I just assumed it was the house on the right, because it also had a black gate. And so I showed it to the officer. I explained to him, I said, yeah, I'm meeting a friend here. This was the address they gave me. I saw the number on the building, and I showed them the message. It said, open the gate, come on through, and knock on the door. And I said, so I opened the gate, and I went in. I knocked on the door, and I realized I was at the wrong house, and I left, and I went to the house next door. I've been sitting over here for an hour. And so he was like, oh, so you did go in the gate? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right. He's like, Mexico has some very strict trespassing laws, and it's very strict. And for whatever reason, this lady is insistent on pressing charges. If we can't make it go away, then we're gonna have to take you to jail. He said, but it looked like it was an honest mistake. And he said, yeah, and I can see how you made that mistake. It was an honest mistake. I understand why you went to that door, went through that gate. So he go back and talk to the lady, explain what happened. He's just a gringo. He don't know what's going on. He was at the house next door. There was no ill intent, otherwise he wouldn't have been at the house next door just hanging out. And so the lady's like, no, I want to press charges, and you don't come through my yard, and my kid was here alone because the parent, they were gone. My kid was here alone, and my kid should be safe in their own house, and nobody should be passing through. And so the policeman, again, still trying to work it out with her. And I appreciate the patience of the police. We were literally out in that parking lot in the street for 2 hours trying to reason with this lady. And even they said the lady was kind of off. And so he was like, hey man, I'm trying to work it out. Just stay calm. We're trying to work it out. And then he went back, talked to her again, talked to her and her husband, came back and like, she still want to press charges. And he was like, maybe go over there and offer her a few dollars. And maybe that'll be good enough. And if y'all can work it out, then nothing can happen. We're done. So I go over there. I had my guy, one of my guy that helped me look for places. I called him up. It looked like it was going to start to go south. So I called him up and he brushed over. And so he went to talk to the lady because the lady only spoke Spanish. And he tried to negotiate something. And then she got even more irate. And so the police went over there and told him, all right, leave her alone. That was a bad idea. And so the policeman came over and he was like, Mr. Ross, I'm sorry, but by law, we have to take you to jail because she's insistent on pressing charges. When you crossed over to that yard, you entered into their property without authorization. And she's just upset that, that her kid was home alone and, some guy coming through the gate and blah, blah, blah. And, he explained to me how people here take pride in their property, and it's serious business here. While at the same time acknowledging that the lady was just kind of out there. And again, we don't know what happened to this lady. There could have been something that traumatic that happened. So I give the lady grace. I have no qualms with a lot of people sending me messages, and when it happened, it's because you're black and she's racist, and and again, I don't know what was going on in that lady's head. Somebody could have broken into her home before. There could have been some trauma there. Somebody could have broken into their house when they were kids and killed their dad. You just don't know what's going on with people. So I chose to extend grace to that lady. Had no ill feelings, but they took me to jail. And he went on to say, the cop was like, look, he's like, you'll spend the night, overnight. In order for, she would have to come down to the police station by the morning and fill out some paperwork in order for you to stay in jail for a few days while we investigate. But you should be out in the morning because I don't see her coming down to the police station to do the paperwork. And sure enough, the next morning I'm ready to get up out of there thinking I'm leaving, and them jokers like, nah, she came and filled out the paperwork, shawty. I'm like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? They jokers filled out that paperwork. And so I had to stay in that house, in that cell for 2.5 days, man, 3 days. The DA, for lack of a better word, I assume they call them DAs here. I don't know what they call them. By the second and a half day, she came by my cell and told me, like, look, we looked at reviewed the records, the report. She was like, it looked like it was an accident. We're not going to pursue this. So you'll be out of here tomorrow or later tonight, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And she was like, we'll expunge everything off the system. It'll be as if though you were never in our system. But them 3 days was rough. You know what I mean? Here is different. When you go to jail, if you want to eat, your family got to bring you food. Here. Maybe if that's how it worked in the States, there'd be less folks in jail. You know what I mean? Because when you got to inconvenience your family members to come to the jail every day to bring you some food, then it kind of, makes it much more strenuous on the family. And the government is not paying for the food. Your family's paying for the food to feed you. Now, in this case, they did bring 1 meal per day, and the meal wasn't even a meal. It was just 2 pieces of bread and 1 slice of meat. So no cheese, no mayonnaise, no mustard, just 2 pieces of bread and a slice of meat. And they had this hard bread that they gave me for to eat on, because when in the jail cell, they had these concrete beds, no padding, no sheets, no pillow. So it's just a concrete slab, like concrete from outside concrete. And that's what you slept on. And so I used my bread that put up on my head. I was sleeping on straight concrete, man. And then when you land on your side, your hip bone pressing into that concrete, your bones in that concrete, your head in that concrete. So I didn't eat the bread, I slept on the bread. You know what I mean? And some guy, when you want water, like I say, you gotta bring your own stuff, man. Your family gotta bring you some stuff. I didn't have a bottle of water. And so this guy was walking around with a pitcher and he was pouring water into each person's cup in the cell. And so I didn't have a cup. And so, but the guy across the cell from me, he had like this Gatorade bottle. And the whole time, when I first got there, all he was doing, it was just spitting on the floor and spitting on the wall the whole time. Just spitting. And so this dude offered me his bottle. I tossed it over. I'm like, dude, I got to drink out of this bottle. If I want to drink, I'm gonna have to use his bottle, because nobody else offered me no bottle, and the folks in the jail wasn't giving me no bottle or no cup. So I had to drink out of his. So he gave me his bottle. I took the top off. The guy poured some water in my cup. And he'll come around every few hours and, ask anybody they need some water. But your family got to bring your food. If you want some sodas, if you want something to drink, your family got to bring that stuff to you. Or you just going to eat one sandwich and water. That's it. So it's different. And the moral of the story is, don't go in nobody's yard. Don't cross no gate, no matter what. When you get to somebody's house, you yell from the street, knock on the door, you get their attention, you call them on the phone, and let them come out there and open that gate and let your behind in there. I don't go to nobody's yard no more until I'm invited into the house, like Vampire Diaries or something. The originals. No, you got to open the door and invite me in. That's the only way I'm coming into your property. So different things here. So I did get out of jail, met some interesting folks in jail. One day Kim brought a whole bunch of food up to the jail, and somebody had prepped her and said, like, yeah, you gotta bring your husband some food, that's how he gonna eat. She brought all these big bags of food, and when the guards had already ate half of my stuff by the time the food got to my cell, she like, did you get all your food? I put this in there, I put that in there. Like, nah, all that was gone. And so what was left was a big bag of food. And so it made me a target in jail. And because everybody started beating on the cell. Hey man, you need to give me up. You need to give me some of that. Give me some of that. You need to share and blah, blah, blah. So I shared with the guys in front of me, to the side of me, and to the front and side. We talked, a couple of them spoke some broken English. The guy next to me he was there for trafficking cocaine, but he spoke English, lived in the States for a while. He kind of gave me the rundown of what to expect, what to happen, and convinced me that I'll be out in a day or two. And like, man, they got me for trafficking, and I'll be out today. So what you did is nothing. Don't worry. He said, I've been here plenty of times. You good. They just do this here in Mexico, but you'll be all right. And so ended up getting his phone number. We chit-chatted for a while. And then he invited me to go meet up with him and have some drinks. And so I was like, no, shawty, we ain't meeting up. Just in case we get pulled over or some rivalries come up on you and I'm caught in the crossfire. I don't want no trouble. And he wasn't from Merida. He was from, I think, passing through from Cancun. But interesting story. So stay out of people's yard. don't violate people's space, and just be respectful of borders. People's property is their own, and what happens on their property, you theoretically don't have a right to go over there and tell them to be quiet or turn the noise down, because they blast music. A lot of these families have dogs. There's a lady that ran out into the street one night because dogs were barking across the street in her neighborhood. She ran out in the street late at night, screaming and hollering, telling people to shut up, telling the dogs to shut up. And so the police came, of course, and so even though it was a bunch of barking dogs, the complaint it turned into a complaint that she was disturbing the peace. And not the dogs, but she was the one waking people up out they sleep in the middle of the night. And more or less they kind of, got on to her. If you don't like it, go back to where you came from. You know what I'm saying? Because that is the culture here. Noise, Mexico is loud. They loud music, the barking dogs, the loud noises from the cars and buses driving by on the street. It's a loud city, and you get used to it. And when it's too quiet, you kind of get nervous. And so, but you can have 12 dogs on your yard. The neighbors ain't gonna say nothing to you, and all 12 of them dogs gonna be barking because it's happening on their property. If their property, if their business, they had a right to do what they want. That's just the mindset here. So I got a long list, but I didn't know this story was gonna take so long. So maybe I stop here and I'll resume in another video because I don't want to drag this out. Maybe I'll give you one more. Let me look here. Selling signature. I'm just looking at my notes. See something that's related to what we just spoke about. Family in the room. I think we're gonna. Well, since I'm talking about noises, one of the things that I do appreciate about Mexico, and I spoke about this briefly in another video, there's always somebody driving down the street and they're making some kind of noise. So some guys will have whistles, somebody will have bells, and somebody else will have chimes, somebody will have a bullhorn, making all these different types of sounds. And each of these sounds basically represents a different type of person that provides a service. So the guy that's coming out on whistling, he's the guy that people, when you hear him, you come out, you bring your knives outside, and then he'll sharpen the knives on the spot. In your yard, he'll sharpen all your blades and your knives, your scissors, and all of that. Then somebody else might be making a different sound, and then they have breads, cakes and sweets and pastries. And then somebody else will have another sound, and they might have some juices and whatnot. Then you have some other people that come through the neighborhood, honking the horn, and they might be the gardener. He might be the guy who say, hey, y'all, you flag them down when you hear them, because you'll hear them coming long before they get to your house. And he might do the garden work. We had one of the guys, he came through, pulled up all the weeds out the front of the yard, and it was like, I can't remember what he charged, but he was out there for like a couple of hours, and he charged us like 100 pesos. I don't even know if it was 100 pesos. I want to say it was like 50 pesos, which is like the equivalent of $2.50 at the time. And he had pulled all these weeds up, swept the driveway, and the plants was looking nice. And so we was like, wow, this is amazing. So somebody be the gardener, somebody will fix your car. If you need some maintenance done in the house, somebody to do some maintenance work in the house, fix something, hang pictures up on the wall or whatever. in all the neighborhoods, you got different things happening and whatnot. So I like that. That is very appreciative. In every neighborhood, every colonia is different. You have different services, different sounds for your neighborhood. What else? Yeah, fix stuff, sharpen knives, manage your garden. So a little bit of everything. So that is one of the benefits of living outside of a pravada. So a pravada, which is like a gated community, if you live in a gated community or a pravada, you will not have those luxuries of services because the pravada will not allow them to come through. So you give up some things, but in exchange for living in the pravada, you tend to have more peace and quiet. You won't have 12 dogs barking and making noise. Neighbors will still tend to blast their music, but generally like at 10 o'clock, there's a quiet time. They got to shut it down at a certain time. And so you don't have to deal with it. Here, outside of a pravada, they'll blast that thing until 5 in the morning. And the 5 in the morning get here, they still going to 5 in the afternoon. They just seem like they just forget to turn it off. You know what I mean? Sometimes they don't even be home. They just be blasting. So there's a lot of things to get used to, man. And but I count it all joy. At the end of the day, it has been a very fun ride, an interesting ride, and a ride that required a lot of patience here. It's been fun. It's been worth it all. If you get the chance to make a move here or any other part of the world, my advice is just to embrace the culture, learn, connect and make friends with local people so you can kind of start to learn these customs quickly and right away. Locals are they are happy to be your friend. They're happy to show you the ropes, and they go out of their way to, once you connect with a neighbor or a friend, they go out of their way to kind of bring you into their family and welcome you into their family. They take you places, they cook for you, they invite you over to all the gatherings, and it's been wonderful. It is different, totally different. And sometimes, for some people, change is uncomfortable. But you got to be willing to accept the culture for what it is. The way they do things is, their ways are not our ways are not their ways, but we are guests, we are visitors into their country, and we are the ones that must adapt. It's not the other way around. You'd be surprised how many foreigners I see that are here. They will walk into a place and try and demand people speak English, or demand they bring somebody that speaks English, and just rude and loud and arrogant and trying to control how things need to be done here. So it doesn't work that way. We're guests, we're visitors, and we must respect it. We don't have to understand it. And that's one thing, I talked to Kim about a lot. It doesn't have to make sense to us. It's the way things are done here. And that's, and if you can't adapt to that or understand that, not just here for Mexico, but any other part of the world, you don't belong there. You know what I mean? No different than when people come to the States. We want them to follow the rules and follow the process and adapt and assimilate. We must do the same here as well. So I got a big list again. I didn't get through all of that because I spent a lot of time on this story, but I will make another video following up on some of that stuff. So, hey, as always, if you find our content helpful and useful, please consider making a donation. There's a donation link on our website, moveabroadandthrive.com. I'll put a link below. If you are not a member of our VIP group, I'd encourage you to join. get access and resources to other members in the community that are already living here and other people that are planning to move, people that are trying to get their residency. There's information being shared about how to get all that stuff done. There's a section in here called Ask Cartes, and as a member, you can ask all the questions you want about planning your life, planning a move here or anywhere, and I answer your questions. So it's a great community. I'd encourage you to join. Also, I'm sharing I'm sharing a lot of resources for a lot of people that are in different stages. Many of you all have asked about earning income, finding remote work. We do have a remote work course that we have on the site. Other people have asked about how they can create their own course, package up their talents, their knowledge, their skill sets, their passions, their hobbies, and put it into a course so you can generate income to fund your lifestyle. So I'm gonna put some links down below if you're interested in learning how to make your own course. I put together a free webinar training where we kind of just walk you through the process of how to get it going. So make sure you click on that link below as well. Book a consultation if you'd like to talk about your plan and your move. I'm happy to discuss it, and I hope you found this useful. Make sure you subscribe, hit the subscribe button, click the notifications to be notified when we drop new content. And again, there's free resources on the website, moveabroadandthrive.com.